Yes. No, but it's more than that. I've totally fallen down on the job and did not put anything into the agenda packet, including not the agenda. Do you have it anyway? Okay, because there's nothing else. Fine. So I don't need to. I did that too, but you still have to post the agenda right at the beginning. I'm just saying, I'm ill prepared. I've got 17 Microsoft Word documents up and all that. So you have the agenda, so you could share it. Thank you so much. Bye. Hi, Nancy. If you can hear me, you don't have video or audio showing. Oh, there you come.
Hi, Laura. Hi, Jeff.
Okay, so I'm going to make you guys co-hosts.
Yes, I'm unmuted. Hey, Nancy.
Hello.
Ignore my husband. He's being a husband.
Well, what does that mean, Jeff? He's biting. Is he being a husband or a toddler pulling at your pant leg, as it were?
No, he's enjoying these meetings and thinks he can weigh in whenever he wants.
Well, he's a member of the public.
I'm always on mute.
Okay, we have a guest. We can't chit chat. Would this be our police officer?
Might be. Go ahead and admit. I'll take it from there.
Okay. Okay, we can chit chat, but we probably shouldn't.
Hi, the last person who just joined is identified as 33682.
Yes. They're still connecting to audio.
Oh, okay. That may be Whitemore. If you can hear me, 33682, can you identify yourself so we can change your name if you're comfortable with that? I do think that's a badge number.
Right, but they're muted.
I know, and I asked to unmute, but
I know.
is that you, Slow Whitemore? If so, you are muted. You need to unmute yourself so we can hear you.
How do you unmute yourself on the phone? Is it *86?
No, *6.
*6. Here we go.
33682. If you're on your phone, use *6 to unmute yourself. There we go. Are you comfortable with identifying yourself? Three, 33682. Are you okay with identifying yourself so we can adjust your name and know who we are dealing with? If not, we'll be fine with the 33682. Okay, so we'll wait and see.
Right.
Laura, who chairs the Economic Development Committee?
In theory, it's Chris Carlson and Hugo Rodriguez, and they have not managed to get themselves together yet. Why?
No, I was just wondering. Yeah, I was just wondering.
No, you're right. Because I mean, I could spur them maybe to start their meetings if they have an agenda item to start it up with.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I found the last outreach email really helpful. It had a lot of good information for small businesses.
Yeah, I think I have to go back to encouraging y'all to provide me some of that information, and then we can send them out, because it actually has had a good amount of reading, people clicking on it, opening it up and then clicking through. Interestingly enough, the thing they've most clicked through to is that really data-driven UCLA study. which
Mm.
right, which is interesting because I didn't understand it. I mean, I did understand the results. It showed neighborhood, you know, they're modeling neighborhoods where high and low COVID, but I mean, predicting it. But I didn't quite understand what a predictive model is. But apparently, whether other people understood it or not, they're clicking through to that one a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Makes sense. We all want to understand the unknown.
Yeah. Well, what struck me in reading the whole news release or whatever it was from UCLA is that we've been talking a lot about how South LA and the African American community is being overly hit, but not based on those numbers. It's really hugely bad in the Latino or Latinx community. I mean, like 4 or 5 times as bad. So which I don't know necessarily in our community. That might be East LA. I don't know, because I couldn't see an overlap between neighborhoods and race. I mean, it was like 2 separate categories, neighborhoods and race. So, oh, good. We have more people.
Is that your number from the?
Yes.
Whose ever phone number ends in 9120, are you comfortable with identifying yourself so we can give you a name?
Oh.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, this is Officer Garcia.
Oh,
I'm
there
the
we
acting
are.
senior lead for 31.
Wonderful. One moment and I'll change your name.
Right. So,
Thank you.
and Officer Garcia, I just saw the chat where you said you were trying to speak, but we couldn't hear you. But I guess you fixed that by calling in on the phone. Thank you.
Yes.
Perfect. I'm going to say hi to Richard. I haven't met you this year so far on Zoom. How are you? But you're still muted.
Hi there, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hi, Richard. Been a while. How you doing?
Hi, Jeff. Doing well. Good to hear your voice.
Thank you. I would think let's just give it a few more minutes to see if we're getting more participants. They're starting to come in now. Everybody knows it's COVID, and goodness gracious, we're doing it however we can.
Hello? Fine, and I'm glad you called. Hang on a second.
I just texted Audrey, Helen, and Rosie to see if they were joining us. I'll also do the same with Sandra, Paul, and some others. So did anyone have any problems buying a turkey or finding a turkey?
No, we didn't, Jeff. We went to Costco, I think, on the 13th or the 14th. I think Costco turkeys arrived on the 13th.
So you were a nerd. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I have all of the fixings for your traditional Thanksgiving dinner, but in smaller quantities, and we'll be using a whole chicken instead this year.
Okay.
Well, Nancy, I leave it up to you as chair. I think that we're dealing with Thanksgiving
Mm-hmm.
pre-jitters. If you'd like to start the meeting, I'll be happy to let you do so, and I can also share the agenda for approval.
Okay, great. Yes, we can go ahead and get started. It's probably going to be a short meeting, but if you could put the agenda up, that'd be great. Also, Jeff, if you want to say, I think the preliminary notes that we need to say before the meeting starts, I think that the meeting is being recorded.
Yes, this meeting is being recorded because it is a public Brown Act covered meeting. All of the agenda items are available online, as well as the information for this meeting. But the meeting will not be posted online, so please feel free to speak. And with that, I'm scrolling through the agenda itself. And Nancy, if you'd like to ask for approval, we can move ahead.
Great. Does anyone want to move to approve the agenda, or does anyone have any comments to the agenda?
Seeing no comments or hearing no comments, I would recommend that the agenda be moved.
Jeff, can I second that?
You actually get to make that motion.
Oh, okay. Great. So I move to second the approval of the agenda. So we can go ahead and call the meeting to order. As the first order of business, does anyone have any comments, general public comments?
I have one general comment, and that is that as your CD10 representative for UNNC as well as its committees, this will be the last meeting that I hold. It will not be the last meeting I attend, but my official duties will be changing in many capacities. So thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to help and serve Jefferson Park. And as a stakeholder now, I will continue to do the same for this group and many others.
Great. Thank you for your service, Jeff. You will be missed. Does anyone else have any
Say it
other
again,
public
Jeff, I missed it.
You're welcome, Rosie.
I missed what you just said.
Oh,
I just was in public comments, was letting people know that this is the last meeting that I'll be serving UNNC in the official capacity of Council District 10. And again, thanks for the opportunity. I hope I helped our neighborhoods greatly, especially Jefferson Park, because my heart lies in Jefferson Park just as much as any others. So I'm moving on, just like you did, Rosie.
Thank you, Jeff. We love you.
okay. Does anyone else have any public comments, announcements? Great. Hearing none, then we'll move on to item 3. Officer Garcia, can you introduce yourself to the community and then also provide just a general update?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Officer Crystal Garcia, and this is my first month as the acting SLO for 31. I'll also like to provide my information in case you guys need to get a hold of me or have any other questions, concerns. I don't know if you guys are ready, but the phone number is going to be 213-709-9120. And then you can also email me at 39393@lapd.online.
Can you repeat the phone number, Officer Garcia? I missed it. It's 213-709-92.
No, it's going to be 9120.
9120. Okay.
And Nancy, you're putting the chat?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you get the email? I didn't get the.
No, I did not get the email.
Okay. Can you repeat the email as well, Officer Garcia?
The email is going to be 39393@lapd.online.
Okay, great. Great, thank you. You can go ahead.
Yes. So just a little bit about myself. I've been here at Southwest for 12 years. Day 2 as a senior lead, acting senior lead. So I'll try to give you as many updates as I can for the week. And if you email me, I'll try to send you those updates as soon as I can. As far as last week from November 15th through the 21st, we've had in 31's area a lot of BFMVs. Just keep in mind, obviously some have left their vehicles unlocked. which is obviously a reminder to go ahead and lock your cars, make sure that you don't leave anything visible inside the vehicle, as far as burglaries from motor vehicles are concerned. Also, there was a robbery on the November 19th at 12:45 in the area of Jefferson and 9th Ave. Obviously, a handgun was produced and suspect chased the victim. As far as that's what I have so far. If you guys have any other questions, concerns, you can also call me or email me.
Does anyone have any questions for Officer Garcia?
Yes, I have a question. There is a memorial over on Jefferson and I guess 9th or so in front of Concord, excuse me, Church. Was that someone who had been killed right there, or just someone who happened to die and hang out over there?
Where was that at, ma'am? Jefferson and 9th?
I think Jefferson and 9th in front of, it's a memorial in front of that Concord Community Church. It's across the street from that liquor store.
That's nothing that I'm aware of, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Question, Officer Garcia, are you replacing Whitemore, or is he just unavailable and you're helping out with that?
No, so I'm actually taking over for him.
Okay, good to know. So you will be the dedicated senior lead officer for Jefferson Park or Area 31?
Correct, for the next 3 months.
Wonderful. Is the captain rotating?
Yes, he's actually rotating.
Okay, cool. So the residents, Nancy, need to be aware of that. In many situations in Southwest, they will rotate several officers worthy of being a senior lead officer until he has the authority to make a decision to name a senior lead officer. And right now that's really difficult, not just with COVID, but with budget issues and all that stuff. But when they do get authorization, they'll name a senior lead officer. So for those in Jefferson Park, please work with Officer Garcia. I have worked with her for many years. She has been a part of CPAB and many community activities. So for now, for the time being, reach out to Officer Garcia as your senior lead.
Okay. So Jeff, just to clarify, that means that every 3 months until the foreseeable future or until there's an authorization, we'll have a new senior lead officer.
Yes, that has been what's been happening in the past and
Okay.
is typical, but at the same time, many voices make a difference. So reach out to the captain as well with your concerns. Reach out to Officer Garcia and let her see, or let your captain know that she is a part of your community and is doing a good job. So, take advantage of the fact that you've got Officer Garcia for the next 3 months. And if you don't like the next transition, well, then you need to let the captain know that, Captain Brockway.
Okay.
Nancy, I can't raise a blue hand.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. I actually have 2 questions. One, probably just because I'm president of UNNC at this point, I'm getting weekly captain newsletters from Wilshire Division. Does Southwest also have a captain newsletter? And then two, this is more of a question for Jeff. Is it appropriate for this committee to pass a motion that would be a recommendation to the governing board, but to request that we send a letter to Southwest asking for a permanent appointee to this? I don't think route's the right phrase, but you know what I mean. Is that
Yeah,
something, Jeff, that we could suggest to the committee to do?
Yes, that's absolutely within this committee's power and UNNC's power. You just need to communicate that to the powers that be at Southwest LAPD. And, you know, based on community input and number of voices, they will listen to the community and do what they can. I have seen it happen in other communities where they were at a point and got an official appointed senior lead officer. So.
Okay,
And
and what about the
like to
thing on the
reiterate-
newsletter?
I'd like to reiterate that, no, I don't believe they have a newsletter, but they do have an app. You can go on to the Apple App Store or even Google Play and search for Southwest LAPD. They will have all of the contact information as well as meeting dates and what have you. They also typically hold what is known as the Community Police Advisory Board meetings, and that usually happens on the first Monday of the month, barring, you know, emergencies or holidays. And those are being held virtually as well, and you can see the Zoom information on that app that I mentioned previously. But I don't want to discredit or disservice Officer Garcia. Like I said before, she has been very involved with Southwest LAPD, especially this area. And, you know, give her a chance. Let's see what happens. Let's communicate. She's going to be your senior lead officer for the next 3 months. Let's communicate with her your community's needs and desires and safety issues so that we can at least protect our community.
Also, Laura, with that, I would just like to say that I'm going to try to provide weekly updates for you because I know we don't have a newsletter. So I'm going to do my best to give you updates on whatever crimes we have during the week. As long as you guys just communicate with me, I'll do the same. I'll try to reach out as soon as I can. Once I get your emails or calls, I'll do my best.
So I just
in contact with you.
posted a sort of kind of suggested motion based in part on what Jeff just said, but it's not quite right for the group. So it's in the chat. Does everyone know how to look at chat?
Yes, it showed up.
All right. Yeah, I think 7 months into this pandemic, people are getting used to Zoom. But just in case you don't know where the chat is run your cursor along the bottom of the black box. If you're on a computer, you'll see the word chat. Click on it, and it'll bring up the chat. Anyway, if y'all think that's a good idea, there's a proposed motion.
Okay. Does anyone want to move to make the motion?
Richard or Rosie, if you could do that, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable since my hats and my roles are moving on.
Okay, so Laura already said what the motion is. I have to repeat it, and so I'd be the person.
You wouldn't, if you like this motion, you don't need to repeat it. If you want it changed, you need to tell me how to change it, and I'll post that into the chat. Meaning we save our motions in chat.
Yeah, I see it. It's the emotion is fine. I second the motion.
Okay. Oh, so apparently Laura first made it, so that's fine.
Okay, great. Does anyone have any questions on the motion? If not, then we can go ahead and vote.
For those of you who are muted, you can add your thoughts and approvals as well. You just will need to unmute yourself.
I approve.
Okay,
I mean, I accept.
great. Thanks, Rosie. So Laura, do I go?
Well,
Do I ask
I think we need to
person?
explain that everyone who is present and participating in this meeting is considered a member of the committee for this evening. So you can make motions and or you can vote. They don't have to vote, but so in other words, Richard or Albert, you're also a member of the committee if you wish to vote.
I approve.
Okay, Rosie, Albert,
Well, Laura.
Laura. Jeff or Richard?
Sure, this is Richard. I support the motion.
Great, Richard.
Richard, you're probably pondering if your neighborhood council should do the same for your neighborhood, but whatever. Because you're also in Southwest, correct?
Yes, we're also in Southwest, and we have a SLO who's sharing 2 areas right now.
Okay.
So Nancy, I don't vote. I shouldn't vote being a city representative. So
I think the
Okay.
motion passed.
Yes, so there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Okay, great. Does anyone else have any other questions for Officer Garcia?
I would like to say again, I've worked with Officer Garcia for many years, and I think she is a great representative of the area. So please, guys, utilize her services, her expertise. She's going to be your first frontline defense in solving many of your neighborhood issues.
I do have a question. I'm not sure whether this is an appropriate venue or appropriate time, but there were so many shots near Arlington and Jefferson. Was this the same person, or in one night on Citizen, I had like 4 notifications?
You said Arlington and Jefferson?
Arlington and Jefferson, right.
What time was that, or what day was that, sir?
Over the weekend.
Okay. I will look into that
Okay, thank you.
because I didn't receive any notices of any shootings that happened or occurred in that area.
Well, I'm not sure whether they were shooting. The Citizens app simply hit 4 or 5 that shots were heard. So I'm not sure whether it was shootings or not. But thank you.
Okay, I'll look into that for you because I got no word of if there was fireworks or shots in that area.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Do you guys have any other questions? Please feel free to call me or email me. If you have no further questions, I'll be signing off.
Okay, great. Thank you, Officer Garcia.
No, thank you guys.
Thank you, Garcia.
Alrighty. You guys be safe. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Great. So next on the agenda, I think, Jeff, it's your CD10 update.
Hey, guys. Not much to update. We will officially be leaving office December 11th. So you will have access to me as your field deputy for Jefferson Park until that point in time. I would highly recommend not starting anything new, but if there's anything that I can help you with when it regards city issues that are happening in your neighborhood, I'd be happy to learn about those and try to get those issues fixed before we are no longer in office. Again, that's Friday, December I say 10th or 11th?
I think 11th is the Friday.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I
Friday.
muted myself. Friday is the 11th.
Yeah, Friday 11th is my last official day. There have been concerns from other constituents, ongoing issues, ongoing files, paper files that we have, emails are currently right now, as we speak, being collected by the city clerk's office so that the history is not lost. I encourage each and every one of you to share with all of your neighbors, all of your block clubs, your associations, to start reaching out to your future council member, which is Mark Ridley Thomas. I don't know if he's taking over the district office or not. I haven't been exposed to many of the transition plans, unlike the presidential transition.
Yeah,
That doesn't necessarily happen in the city,
terrible.
but I do know that everything in my office that I worked on with you guys for the last 4 years will be taken to the city clerk's office, will be available. Same with my email database, and any notes that I made. So, again, I can't say how much I appreciate having been your deputy and helping to solve your problems, but your next step here and now is going to be to start creating a new relationship with Mark Ridley Thomas's office. And perhaps the first question you might want to ask is, who is going to be your deputy? It's a
Well,
large grid. It's shaped like a turkey, but give it at least a month. I have a feeling that Mark and his team will be hitting the ground running starting January, and you guys just go to town. I still live here too. I'm not going anywhere. So I will be an asset and a help to you as well as the incoming council member. I will put my contact information into the chat. It'll be my city cell phone and my city email address. But my last day of business is going to be December 11th. And unless there are any questions, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Oh, goodness, however different that may be. It's going to be different.
Laura, I think you had your hand up.
yeah, and I'm typing. I have also not been given any official contact person, but I'm about to put it in the chat. Mark Ridley Thomas's longtime administrative everything is Mary Jones, and I don't know if she's coming along or not, but I'm putting in the chat her current contact. So maybe if we just people individually besiege her, she'll maybe know who the right transition team is.
And Nancy, I got a question privately. I am not sure of the policy or administrative procedures of the city of LA, because I'm a get down on the dirt, roll up my sleeves kind of work and solve problem guy.
Mhm.
But the question was, is Mark stepping into office on 12/11? I do know that there has to be an official city council swearing in of the new incoming board members or council members. That does happen before the new year. I don't know the exact date when they officially take over and are in office. But I would think once they are sworn in whatever the date may be in late December, that they have all authority to start taking control and taking care of their council district.
Okay.
Laura, could I say something very quickly?
Ask Nancy.
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead,
Nancy.
Albert.
Yeah, I don't participate in these meetings that frequently, but I do want to thank Jeff Camp for all that he's done. Particularly, we're very happy on 31st Street that Jeff has been very responsive to our requests. And so on behalf of my neighbors on 31st Street, thank you, Jeff.
Well, thank you, Albert. I may reach out to you for a recommendation.
Okay, will do.
Okay.
So, Jeff, actually, I do have some questions. So what is everybody doing for the next 2 weeks? Besides perhaps packing up their belongings?
For the next 2 weeks, I still have to go back in and refile all my stuff for the city clerk's office. Even though I left all of those files behind, we have to do a further step of classifying what files they need to earmark as you really need to be aware of these files,
Got it.
which I found a good thing. You and I still need to go in there with our masks so we can get our
Yeah.
electronics out of there for UNNC.
Well, I'm going to say you and I and Glenn need to finalize how that food is being delivered to the 2 buildings in Jefferson Park, just saying. I
That's
really want
something
that
you and
done.
I will be happy to deal with offline.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah,
and
but
then
I'm
the-
saying, what else what's the staff, is the staff working on projects or literally working on semi-transition? Because I know that we don't do it like the federal government where the new people are not talking to the old people.
As far as I know,
Mhm.
I am not aware of any transition process. We need to make sure UNNC are getting their important items, computers and electronics, out of the office.
Right.
What I'm doing personally as a deputy is closing out any open issues I may still have that I can accomplish in the next 3 weeks. And remember, one of those weeks disappears starting Thursday.
Well, don't you have keys to the office? We could go in over the weekend, couldn't we? I'm
yeah,
not
but I'm
joking.
not, I know you're not joking, but I'm not going in on a weekend.
Because you're not working.
I
I
don't-
say, what's the diff between weekends and weekdays? But I get it. I get
Jeff
it.
has worked 24/7 for you guys for 4 years, and he appreciates any weekend he can get, and
Got
this
it.
is a holiday weekend.
Got it.
So,
Got it. Got it.
but, you
Mhm.
know, my goal as a field deputy to Jefferson Park is to finish up any open issues I may have or the community may have. I highly recommend don't say, Jeff, we'd love to get, treescaping across this and this and that. Those things just aren't going to happen. We really are at the end. So as a deputy and as a representative of my communities, your community, I want to make sure that we get all issues resolved before I can no longer help you out in that matter.
Okay.
So don't think anything new. Just realize that we're going to have a transition, and it's going to be an interesting transition because CD10 has Herb and his team has been serving you for over 15 years. That's going to be hard to, experience, but I have faith in Mark's team that they are going to be able to start running and not start walking. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of walking, but just know that there are many of us that are not going away, that still are members of the community and will assist and aid the incoming council member in any way that we can. I give you that as my personal promise.
I have one more question. So all of y'all's got these wonderful city phones that are mobile. So when do you turn them in and these same phones will be given to new people with the same numbers but different names attached?
I cannot answer that question, but
Well,
I
you
did
will
make
turn
it
in the
very clear.
phones.
Yes, I did make it very clear that they were asking for the ITA was asking for them early.
Ugh, no.
ITA, by the way, is the technology department, so they could, you know, clear things out, set them out, or set them up for the incoming council team. That date, I believe, is the 10th. So the last day for me is the 11th. And I'm glad that that happened because it's like they wanted them a whole week before. Well, the moment you take away my city cell phone, people have no contact with me whatsoever except for my email. So you can probably expect not to reach my cell phone on the 11th.
Jeff, now that you say that, so is there an individual at ITA that at least I can contact? Because they will be reassigning this to other people, that so that person would know at least some of the deputies coming in, correct? Not to post in the chat, but I mean, we'll talk offline, but
No,
that would be a good person to contact.
That's an offline question, but for
All right.
those for those in the community, so that you know, we were forced these city cell phones. Some people had them already, but the city is moving to cell phones. And we tried to resist it as long as possible, knowing that we were going out of office. When I got my city cell phone and learned what the number was going to be and had to set it up and all that good stuff, I got calls from people I didn't even know. So you might expect some of that, but it's, again, it's not like, okay, this was Jeff's cell phone number. Jeff covered Jefferson Park and the avenues and
Yeah, that's not gonna
UNNC.
happen.
No, it's not. So don't
No,
even.
I was thinking this was mine was more of a backdoor question. The ITA person will know at least a few of the names of incoming deputies because those deputies are probably already being assigned some stuff. It's a backdoor. We need to talk offline. You know, I need to talk to a few people. Just for folks in Jefferson Park, one of the things that is pending, and I really, on behalf of UNNC, need to schedule it now and not January, is the annual walkthrough of the big, I'm going to use the word garden, but the big landscaped garden area behind the oil field. The oil company is supposed to walk through with CD10 and me, UNNC, and it's usually September or October, and we put it off, but it was so hot. But now I'm worried about rain. So I'm trying just to arrange somebody from the new CD10 as well as somebody from the outgoing CD10 and do that in the next 2 weeks. We do a walkthrough and see maintenance and discuss what's going to happen. So
Yeah, as
yeah.
I've mentioned before, now is the time for the community.
Oops, we lost you, Jeff.
Now is the time for the community to outreach to the incoming council member, Mark Ridley Thomas.
Right.
And if you don't have personal connections, you can go to Mark's website.
I know that. I posted Mary Jones. Try Mary Jones. She's his longtime helpmate. She'll know.
That's fine. But also utilize his current county website, and it behooves the community to start reaching out to the incoming council member. so that you can create that relationship. And I would reiterate to Jefferson Park, not just UNNC, and UNNC already knows this.
Right.
They have utilized and used CD10's field office for more than 15 years, as well as a couple of other locations. It's important for the community to know the power that they have, and you have this ability right here, right now, to reach out and let them know your history in this community, and you expect to be a voice in their upcoming board. You have to do that. And that's something I can't do. That's something that, as much as I have tried to find out for Laura, any transition process,
Yeah.
you need to solidify and open and create that communication with Mark Ridley Thomas and his team, and make sure you have a seat on that table.
Okay.
With that, Nancy, I will bid adieu, but not a bid adieu from the meeting.
You mean from the agenda item?
Well, yeah, I'm done with the agenda item, but I bid adieu to everyone here, and you will next see me as a stakeholder and a participant.
Okay. Great. So our next agenda item is number 5. We're looking for a co-chairperson for the Jefferson Park Public Safety Committee. So if you know of anyone that might be interested, or if you yourself are interested in co-chairing this committee, please let me know.
I'm posting your UNNC email.
Okay, great. Next, we can move on to just community discussions. If there are any current issues that you're concerned about that you want to bring up, or any topics that you want to address in any future meetings.
I have one, Nancy.
Okay.
I personally did not do it, so I apologize, but Nancy, for your list, Rosie, Laura, I don't think for the last 2 meetings we have that there's been appropriate outreach to let the many involved community members we've had in Jefferson Park participate in these meetings, not only pre-COVID, but during COVID.
Well,
So,
is there an email list that somebody had before? Because otherwise, we're just doing what we do.
well, no, the issue was it was always standing, and people would show up physically to the meetings. And Nancy knows this before COVID. We probably had 25, 30 people in the room at the Jefferson Park Library. But I think what needs to be done, especially for January's meeting, I'll leave that announcement to Nancy, that there is considerable outreach for the next Jefferson Park Safety meeting. And I'm saying this one from my heart because I have cared for Jefferson Park for many, many years. Rosie can attest to this. I don't want to see a decline whatsoever because I know what Jefferson Park is capable of. So,
Well,
I'll be the first.
Jeff, but it's one thing to say there should be more outreach, but it's really quite another to try and answer the question I asked especially if you were having 25 people there, it wasn't just that they showed up, they had to know that the door was going to be open because maybe a meeting was canceled. Was there an email contact list that Nancy doesn't have, and certainly I don't have? Or were you?
I have a
No, between Rosie and myself, when the agenda went out, and this is what we would used to do. I will be the first one to admit I did not do it. We did not post it to Greater Jefferson Park or Historic Jefferson Park. Those are the things that will increase these numbers, let police know and other city officials that this is indeed a legitimate, solid group.
Right.
So, you
Well,
know, just
if you
No,
guys
it's
can talk,
email list, Laura. I think Jane received an
question.
email list from whoever headed the meeting prior to us.
Jeff
Yeah.
used
Jeff
to, the
Bowen.
other
Jeff
Jeff,
Bowen.
he
Yeah.
used to keep,
I'm sorry, people used to sign in every week and he would take those sign-in sheets. I don't know what he did with them, but they would ask for your email address.
And he would blast everybody. Exactly.
well, that's what I'm
So-
asking.
Yeah, I think it's a combination, right, of doing that email list, posting it on Facebook, on Nextdoor.
Well,
Yeah, it
so
has
there's
to be
a
next
couple
door.
of things. Look, everybody's talking. I'm sorry.
I can't raise my hand on here for some reason.
Go ahead, Rosie. And nobody's raising hands. It's such a small group.
No,
I'm
I'm
not
just
raising
saying.
my hand.
I was just saying, it really has to get posted on Nextdoor and Facebook, because a lot of people go there,
Mhm.
you know, and then you can keep, if it's kind of like only one post, if somebody could go there like a day or two or the same day and just say, hey, heads up, it'll put it back in the feed. Otherwise, it'll get like lost in someone's feed.
Right. Well, what I was going to say for you guys and for this committee in particular, Gabby actually lives in Jefferson Park, but I am guessing since she's so new, she may not be aware of the two Facebook groups, and yet she'd be totally eligible to try to become a member of both, right? Because she lives in Jefferson Park, and she's one of our two communications co-chairs, and she's doing some social media, but she's just learning and doesn't know all of the places and things. And Lizzie, I think, would normally also post as outreach chair, but I don't even see Lizzie on this meeting. So, you know, it may be that we're at Thanksgiving and the COVID and all that stuff, but and I know that Steve Peckman will send out emails if there's an interesting agenda item, not just because there's a committee meeting, but maybe we could convince him to start sending out his Jefferson Park United. He has an email list. It's not ours. It's not his personal either. It was put together some years ago and keeps expanding, but for Jefferson Park United. But, you know, in other words, we probably do need to do that effort, but there's individuals who are kind of the keepers of various things. I will reach out to Jeff Bowen and see if he does have a list he can share.
Okay. And I mean, I think that's also part of the reason, like, there needs to be a co-chair. Unfortunately, I can't, just because of my work obligations, I can't. It's just been particularly busy these last few months. I haven't been able to do, I think follow up with people on posting it on Facebook and Nextdoor.
Right, but that we have other people on the board who could be helping with that. So
Exactly, Nancy.
and they
that's
live in
why-
Jefferson Park.
Nancy,
So
that was why I was recommending it, was because we've seen numbers drop from the last two meetings that we've had, and that's no fault of your own. But if you're asking for help and we do proper outreach for the January meeting, let's start this new year off right, blah, 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 and we send it to God and everybody we know in Jefferson Park, whether it's my list, whether it's Laura's list, John's list, whatever, Jeff's list. That will be the way to do it, because people are getting tired, and I know Jefferson Park had many elements in various different neighborhoods who came to the meetings, were focused and connected and ready to get organized.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I hope you can accomplish. I will do everything in my power to help you do that because I love Jefferson Park and I worked hard. So, you know, outreach is going to be the main issue here.
Okay.
Okay.
And you also have,
I just wrote a note to ourselves in the chat, just so we all remember this. Kind of like
and there was, yeah, there was also a couple of neighborhood associations, the block clubs also in Jefferson Park.
yeah.
That
Nosy Eye.
yeah, the Nosy Eye, and then the one that used to meet at
That's Cheryl Johnson and her group.
the one that used to meet
Over
over
at-
there at the school right there.
At
by Taft.
Solaria. Yep,
Solaria.
at
You're
Solaria.
talking about Lewis South's group.
No, Cheryl.
No,
And,
there's
and,
two. Lewis South used to have a group, met at the church. It's been silent for many years.
well, you got Rosie, you got Cheryl Johnson,
Yeah.
who was Solaria.
Yeah, Sandra Paul. She could
Yeah,
probably
with what's her name? Oh my God, it starts with an E. Can't believe I'm
the
blanking.
older lady.
Yes, yes.
I can't think of her name either, Ethel or something like that, or
It starts with an E, and she would kick my ass, and she's a tough black woman, and I loved that.
Okay, now don't say
but
her
you
name
got
because remember you're
Sandra
being recorded.
Johnson. That's fine.
Okay.
And then you got Sandra, and you got Dolores, and you got Helen, and you got 29th Street, and you got 31st Street. There is blocks and associations in Jefferson Park that need this to become a greater power.
Okay, so what we don't know, I'm realizing, as you said, Cheryl 4 times. We haven't seen Cheryl this entire COVID Zoom meetings time. So is she okay? Does anyone know?
She's fine. She's been in the CPABs and she's
Okay.
constantly in contact with me. And she's with the Solaria group over by 12th and 13th.
And no, I know who she is, where she is. I'm saying I haven't seen her on a UNNC anything all this time since we've been on Zoom. Dolores has been around, but we should roll her back in. Sandra's been participating in the Planning and Zoning Committee, so I'll ask her if she wouldn't come to this too.
Laura. Rosie, it's Eula. Eula is the one that you and I were trying to remember. Miss Eula Jackson. Okay, I'm giving it back to you, Nancy.
Okay. All right. So I guess for the next meeting, we'll focus on outreach. It seems like you all have contact people. Maybe we just need to get the agenda ready a week beforehand so that we can start circulating it. We're not having a meeting next month, so our next meeting is in the 4th Tuesday of January.
So Nancy, and maybe one way to, I'm circling a little bit back, but if you're gonna, sometimes if you have a guest speaker, if there's somebody, you and I can talk again offline, but maybe we could figure out somebody has something interesting to say for the folks in Jefferson Park, then that's kind of easier to promote than, hey, we're having a meeting.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think what brought a lot of people last time was the planning and zoning. The developer
yes.
That brought in a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are focused on development in Jefferson Park. I'm just not sure to what extent it's going to be duplicative of what happens in planning and zoning.
Well, there's suddenly a lot of proposals or approved like small lot subdivisions and things like that in Jefferson Park. And maybe we could, again, we can talk offline, but maybe we can do an item on that. That wouldn't be something we do at planning and zoning because we're kind of processing cases and not necessarily taking a look at what's happening, in Jefferson Park. So I mean, or
Okay.
something else. I mean, in other words, we can talk about that.
Okay.
But
All right.
but I'm saying sometimes it's easier to promote a thing than a meeting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. If no one has any other comments, then I think we can go ahead and adjourn.
Okay.
Thank you, Nancy, and everyone have a interesting Thanksgiving. Yet another thing we have to do differently because of COVID.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Right. So if you guys want to save the chat, don't forget, you have the chat open and you put your cursor over the 3 little dots, click on that, and you can see you can save chat.
Mhm.
And then I'll automatically, because this is being recorded, the master chat will be saved automatically if anyone had questions.
Okay.
And again, Richard, it's good to see,
Yeah.
quote, or I should say, quote, see you and have you involved again.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you, everyone. Nancy, thank you for your leadership. Good to see you, Laura. Thank you, Rosie. Have a good night.
Right.
Good night.
Fun.
Okay. Bye, Jeff. I'm going to turn off the meeting now.